Hey there, I am Skylar Davis, owner of Culture Shock Clothing and Records right here in Rockford, Illinois, and this is Vinyl Happy Hour, our weekly show where we bring in some records and talk about usually our top 5 picks and releases for the week. Tonight we're doing it a little different. We are doing a Record Store Day wrap-up, and Record Store Day is big time different this year thanks to the pandemic. It's been hugely delayed, and there's 3 drops now. They split the huge list up into 3 lists instead of 1. We just celebrated that, and I'm showing off I'm going to have my top 5 records, my top 5 personal picks I pulled into my collection from this, and then we're going to talk about 5 that either I missed or our customers missed, or, you know, some more things like that. So let me jump right into it though. One of my big picks was, first time I've ever seen this on vinyl, was the Cure Bloodflowers. And this is a picture disc, a double LP. This is, in my opinion, the last great Cure album. This came out in 2000. What's also funny about picture discs is, I don't know why, there's this really weird conception in the vinyl community of people that think that picture discs sound horrible or bad or something like that. And I guess I've seen or had a couple that might have sounded bad, or that's some 80s Blondie album or something, but absolutely great sound quality on this. Everything I would expect. It's a great way they did the picture discs too. What we really like to show off is the packaging on this for our Vinyl Happy Hour. So we've got one open up here. It's a double LP picture disc, and it's got all the song breakdowns and the artwork that goes with each song inside the jacket. This one, of course, fits in back here, and the picture disc is a continuation of the art on the jacket. I just love the layout of that. There's one thing I dislike about picture discs that just come in a plain, like, thick sleeve. So I love the packaging of it. I got to spin this. That was one of my top picks, and I did kind of review this a little bit, or we talked about some of my personal picks. Last week we did a really extended breakdown of Record Store Day. If you want to start catching or seeing what is still available from our Record Store Day releases, they are up on our site right now at cultureshockshop.com. We still have quite a few things. We actually still have some of these left. It's funny, that's the thing about Record Store Day, and even I, as a record store owner, had to study the list and figure out how many we had of each, which ones I should pick for myself, which ones I should wait and let customers get, because we kind of have a strict rule. I'll talk about that, where I only pick 1 record before the store opens. That's my kind of perk. And then as the line goes through or whatever, I'll take some picks that I would like for myself, or at the end of the day. Let's see here. My next one is, I wasn't going to get this. I really wasn't. I have a lot of Hawkwind records. If anyone knows me, you know that's kind of one of my favorite old bands, you know, right behind like Black Sabbath and stuff like that. This is the first time on vinyl for Hawkwind, live at the BBC, 1972. Again, double gatefold album, not a picture disc. This is just on great, solid, thick black vinyl. This is a live set though from 72 with most of the original members, and what's really cool is it still has Layne on there. Of course, they do Silver Machine and some other great Hawkwind songs. Layne, this is a few years pre-Motorhead. He was in Hawkwind. Hawkwind, if you're not familiar with them, they kind of pioneered the sound that they called space rock. This album live is pretty heavy too, right to the point. I noticed something else. This is a lot different. They did a live album around the same year of Space Ritual, it was called. And who is the guy who does all the poetry and spoken word? Robert Calvert. He's actually only on a couple of the session songs here. He's not in the whole live album. So this is a lot different than Space Ritual, and I think it's heavier, it's faster, I like it. Space Ritual, their other live albums, kind of more spread out, spacey, weird, trippy, and this guy is screaming crazy poetry and other things along with the music, like a poet working with the musician. So that's another classic great live album. But this one, we actually still had a few copies left. I was like, what the hell, I'm gonna get this. I might not get it again. That's the thing about the Record Store Day releases. A lot of times you don't get a chance to get them again. And if you do, it might be on a different version or a different format. Like the Cure, I'm sure that if they reissue it, won't be on a picture disc. But I didn't want to take a chance of it never coming out, so I got it. My number 1 pick, the first pick, the one and only thing that I picked up before we even opened, so I could get it for myself because I thought we might sell out. Whoops, that's the next one actually, is Tyler, the Creator, Cherry Bomb. This one we had quite a few copies of, but Tyler, the Creator's kind of become one of my favorite hip-hop artists the last few years. Going back to this album though, this was only his 4th album. I forgot when this came out. Quite a few years ago, though. I didn't really know much about it when it first dropped. The musicianship on it, though, and the way it's all sampled and beats are put together is sick. I love it. It's just really weird and funky. He's got a lot of other vocalists working on it with him, too. Kanye, Lil Wayne, Schoolboy Q, a few of those guys. This is such a cool album, though. One thing I did miss out on, and we did sell out of, was the instrumentals version of this album. So this is a double LP also on cherry red vinyl. Great artwork, great album. The instrumentals would have been really cool to have. Had we not sold out, I would have probably gotten that too. Just because if I'm ever DJing, I want to play it in the store, the lack of vocals and the lack of lots of F-bombs and stuff would have been nice to spin and have, but obviously this album is the one that I'm mainly into. So super glad I was able to get a copy of that. And then one that we actually still had some left after Record Store Day, which we are not sold out of though, was Bone, Thugs and Harmony, Creepin' on the Come Up. This is, you gotta see the way they did this vinyl. It came out really cool. It's on the original Ruthless label, Ruthless Records, and it's like clear with black and red splatter. Oh, the other thing too about it, it is numbered. So they did like a gold foiled numbered system on the back. They did 4,000 copies, and this, you know, each one was numbered. It's got the RSD little hype sticker on there telling you it's on splatter vinyl. So I was super happy we still had some of those left. So I was able to grab one of those. That's the thing about Record Store Day. You kind of gotta pick and choose what you're gonna get, what you're gonna go after. Speaking of spots and stuff like that, let me get a drink of one of my favorite whiskeys. This is Green Spot. Really cool packaging. Lauren and I picked this up at a whiskey tasting last year, and they package it inside of this cardboard container, and it's got the green spot even on there. What this comes from is an Irish family who used like old wine casks and sherry casks in Ireland in the 1800s, would buy their whiskey, the whiskey mash or whatever, whiskey distilled stuff from the Jameson Company, and barrel it themselves, and depending on where they warehoused it or the flavors they were going for, they just put different colored spots of paint on the barrels. And this one was always a sweet one, I guess. It's got some good spice, some good little toasted oak, a tiny bit of fruit taste. I realized something that I think I'm finding out about myself, is I actually like lower proof whiskeys. I like to drink them neat, no ice. It's only 80 proof, that's all I need. But I thought tonight we're still celebrating Record Store Day. And this year we kind of get to keep the celebration going, because there's almost like 3 months of Record Store Day now. Geez, there was like 20 or 30 records I wanted from this list, so I'm glad they broke it up into 3 releases instead of one big release. Of course, my 5th pick, I will have to say, I'm not huge on Post Malone. I like Post Malone. It's good pop music kind of, but I have a 3-inch record player, and there's just not enough 3-inch records yet. So when they release a 3-inch record that I give a crap about, like last year they did Beastie Boys, this year they did 4 singles from Post Malone's new album. We've got Sunflower, Goodbye, Saint Tropez. I don't say that out loud, but whatever it is. And Wow. Saint Tropez? I don't think so.
I don't know.
But if you haven't seen these little 3-inch record players yet, or these 3-inch record players, they even got the little crate to put the record in, a little DJ crate. That just came out too. I had to get one. But it comes with its own little sleeve, little jacket, and little poster even. These little things are so cool. It's just so unnecessarily and cool, but I don't think I dropped it in the right spot here. But it's got its own little built-in speaker, or you can jack it out, RCA out or whatever, headphone jack into a Bluetooth speaker or something a little more powerful, but I just had to demonstrate that a little bit. I thought those were so cool. So anytime there's a 3-inch record coming out, usually for Record Store Day, I try to grab it, whatever is available. We still have all 4 of those available, actually. I feel like this year Record Store Day got a little mixed up with everything going on and the delays and stuff like that. So I do want to mention 5 misses. And by misses, I'm not saying anything wrong with them or anything like that. I just think maybe some people overlooked them. Maybe there was so many good things to buy, you forgot about these or didn't see them. So I'm just going to show a couple things off. These are things that are on my maybe to get list if they don't sell out. This is Arnold, Layne. This is a Pink Floyd song. This was their very first song. This is a live version of it, though. It's the last one with most of their remaining members. But they re-recorded a live version of this in 2007. It's a 7-inch single. And on the back, there's like this little kind of like Space Mind, kind of like an etched vinyl on the back side. So I thought that was really cool packaging and really kind of monumental. What's really cool about this song is that they did reissue the 7-inch single now, because it's not on any of their regular studio albums. This was made as a 7-inch single, the very first single they ever made, actually. And this was in tribute to Syd Barrett. There was another Pink Floyd related release that came out on Record Store Day. This is Nick Mason's Saucer Full of Secrets live at the Roundhouse, and he does some Pink Floyd tunes, original member of Pink Floyd also. So this is a 12-inch, like an EP live, cool swirl vinyl, and it also is etched on the B-side. I'm going to carefully try to show that off. Do you see that on the camera maybe? A little bit? Let me move it around. So they did an etched B-side. Really cool artwork, a really cool way to release the record. So those are actually still available, and I'm definitely still considering getting those for myself. Huge Pink Floyd fan, actually I have a lot of Pink Floyd records. I'm just going to pull that out of the way. Another thing that got released was both of June of 44's albums. Pretty sure it's their first two full-length albums. This stuff is from 90s, 94 and 96. You've got Tropics and Meridians, which was like their second album. And then you also have Engine Takes to the Water, which was their first. But this was recorded by Bob Weston in Chicago, who has also worked with Shellac, Mission of Burma, a lot of kind of that experimental post-punk bands of the 90s. But they did the packaging on this. I'm so glad I opened one up. I'm really tempted to get this now. The artwork is really cool on the inner sleeves. Each one of these, they dropped 2,000 copies. These are still available, at least while we're making this video. And it's on like Icelandic blue vinyl. The packaging just gets better though, because this one is like a pressed paperwood cardboard kind of jacket. And the artwork on the poster is so cool. They just did a great job. Actually, we were just playing this before we started the video, and I haven't listened to it in a long time. The originals of this, by the way, are always $100 to $200. That 90s stuff's so hard to get on vinyl. Super happy to see that stuff getting reissued. Is that showing up on the camera? Mm-hmm. That is a really great poster, and this one actually has the reverse poster. So it's kind of like a matching set. I don't know if this was a kind of a concept that they came up with to have both of these albums released together like this. But I'm so glad they did. And listening to it, it's just kind of that jazzy drum, kind of post-rock experimental type of music. And even those shouty vocals I was saying, it kind of reminds me with less of the melody and the ups and downs of like Modest Mouse or something like that. But I also hear a lot of like Slint and Shellac and some of those bands you may or may not be familiar with yet. Let's just show off both posters because the artwork is so cool on both of these records. And they're both on that same color kind of icy blue vinyl. So great releases, great. I think it's a great deep cut, you know, kind of some bands that aren't maybe as popular, many people don't know about yet, or overlooked in the 90s, like even I did. I didn't know them in the 90s. I was too into grunge and new metal or whatever I was listening to at the time. So anyway, so those are still available. I had to show those off. And then our girl Brittany Howard has a great live release here. A lot of people know her from Alabama Shakes. Great, deep, soulful voice. So she is just so smooth. And her band, it's a pretty big band playing with her. She even has some backing vocals on this. This is live at the Sound Emporium. I believe that's in Nashville. So a good place to be recording. It's kind of got that little bit of that Southern Muscle Shoals kind of soul vibe. They did this cut on maroon vinyl. The other interesting thing about this is it's not streaming. It's hard to find, really. It does come with a download card. So if you download your music or want a download card, that comes with it. It's only 20 bucks. I thought that was a great price for this live release with download and maroon vinyl. Still available. Now, that's just some stuff that either I missed out on, I might be picking up from a personal collection, or if you guys want to pick it up, get it. It's available. Now, two of the things I want to talk about now, I don't have a picture of. If I was making edits on this video, I'd be like, here's the picture of it. But Denzel Curry, one of my favorite other, you know, just good, just kind of, he's not underground at all, but he's just a great rapper. He's a really good guy, and he's just doing something, that experimental thing, kind of like Tyler, the Creator. He's just incorporating so many other great hits, cuts, beats, samples. He's also really into metal and rock, so it's cool to see that kind of vibe mixing in. And he did a live thing. He did Bulls on Parade from Rage Against the Machine and Eye Against Eye, Bad Brains, 7-inch single. Wow, he killed it. And the way he yells and screams that out, I can tell he's having a lot of fun. And he is kind of another one of those kind of yelly, shouty rapper sometimes too. He just really hits it hard. So it's really cool to see him having fun recording those songs. And they caught that on vinyl for Record Store Day. Those sold out. I didn't even get a copy. So boop, insert here. Wish I got it, didn't. Should have, you know, whatever. Tried to get more. That's just the gamut of Record Store Day. It's a gamble. The other one, we only got 2 copies of Spacehog Resident Alien, a really great 90s album, a weird one. It was on color vinyl. We had people here waiting hours before we opened, early in the morning. So we couldn't make them feel bad, of course, and I picked I think I picked the Tyler, the Creator album was my pick. I knew there's gonna be too many people waiting for Spacehog. Didn't want to disappoint. So kudos to those guys who are the diehards that always show up here super early to get some of their picks. It was a lot of fun to see our customers out, having a lot of fun. Who's on there?
Brad.
Oh, Brad, I hate you. Give me my Spacehog record. Anyway, so they had a lot of fun getting up early. There was a lot of just great releases, I thought, and we still have 2 more releases coming up. So if you're watching our YouTube, there's a link to the 3-inch records and record players. There's a link to the Record Store Day stuff available now. And then we also have September 26th and October 24th. They're calling them Drop 2 and Drop 3. So there's only 2 more drops. So if you missed this Record Store Day, come out, have fun with us. We're going to be open at 8 a.m. If you don't live here or can't make it out, each of those days at 8 p.m. that night, Record Store Day has changed it up. So now we can sell these releases on our website or online later in the day. So at 8 p.m. Eastern, Central Time, we'll have those up. So you can check those out. I'm really happy that we're able to have a website now and to connect with our customers and make some new customers that way. But like I said, so cool to see people coming out amongst this pandemic. We had our tents and tables and people lined up and spaced out and masked up so everyone was comfortable. And we've already had incorporated a system of limited amount of people in the store so you can get what you want. It was just so much fun. So there's also a link to those upcoming Record Store Day releases. You can't buy them yet or anything. It's more informational. But we hope to see you there. We are also going to be having some more posters and other freebies to give away at the next Record Store Day events. And I definitely want you guys to check out Drop 2 and Drop 3 Record Store Day. Give us some comments. Let us know what you're looking for. We want to make sure we could try to get as many of those things as possible. Keep in mind, there's hundreds of stores who participate, and some of these records they only make hundreds or thousands of. So we can't get very many of everything, you know.
What releases are you looking forward to from Record Store Day 2?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. I got them mixed up. I got to forget. I think City Morgue, too. The Game. There's a lot of hip-hop randomly, but, I mean, between the 90s rock and 90s metal that I like and a lot of the 90s hip-hop, that stuff is what excites me the most, probably, because that shit is so hard to find and so rare on vinyl when CDs and cassettes were so limited. I'm going to do, obviously, when we do a lead-up or a teaser for Record Store Day coming up, I'll probably mention the ones that I'm looking for, but that's the only 2 I can think of off the top of my head. Oh, maybe, the Hacker soundtrack. That's a good one, too. It's, again, 90s stuff. I mean, I'm old, whatever, so. But yeah, please share your comments. Please, I'd like to see what you're looking forward to from Record Store Day, or if you want to show off or tell us what you got on the Record Store Day Drop 1. That'd be cool to see what you picked up and the combination of records that were found. Like I said, mine gets all over here. Seems like a lot of 90s stuff, but there's some great newer stuff too. And then the novelty stuff, the 3-inch records. There are no more 3-inch records for these 2 Record Store Days, but we still do have some of the Disney, some of the Beck, and some of the Post Malone too. But hey guys, thanks so much. I just wanted to give a huge shout out and kudos to Record Store Day for helping organize such a huge event and making it work amongst the pandemic with via online and having 3 different releases. It's a lot of fun, and of course there was a lot of other used records we had to our store and things like that, so hopefully you get into the store to check it out too. We'll be doing Vinyl Happy Hour every week and keeping you updated with upcoming Record Store Days as well. Cheers!